The mayor of Maui will not say how many children are missing. What we've been told is that officially there are about 100 people who have died in the fires, but there are 1,000 people missing. Now, how many days later? Here's what the mayor of Maui has to say.
I don't know.
Yes, you do. How many children are missing? You know.
I wish I knew the answer to that. I would be happy to answer that.
You have no estimate as to how many children are missing?
I guess we can end this right now if you guys want. Sorry,
this is one of the biggest questions that the people of Lahaina have, but you don't want to answer.
It always takes one or two to ruin it for everybody.
Please, this is our only opportunity.
Well, we could say that about you. You ruined it for everyone.
You're welcome to say it. You're the media. You can say whatever you want.
You're a disaster.
All right. Okay.
Please.
You've been the worst mayor we could possibly imagine.
You won't even wait.
Respect what? This is the most dismal response we've ever had.
You won't wait for your turn. You want to shout over these guys that are legitimate.
Why don't you give them the real answers then?
So.
Give them the real answers.
That's not his question.
Let him.
Yeah. You can go. Yeah. Oh, sorry.
Good on the journalist. I'm all for being respectful in these kinds of things. But first of all, there aren't that many journalists there. So the mayor of Maui is trying to deflect. So it's not your turn. Not your turn. Give me an answer. How many kids are missing? Oh, we don't know. Yeah, we don't know. No big deal. Okay, moving on. He says, what the hell you mean you don't know? You don't know? Days later? This seems like a cover-up. Yeah, well, sometimes one of these guys is going to ruin it for everybody. Ruin it for everybody? There's like 5 journalists here. You're not answering the most important question. What's going on? This is most likely a major scandal. The liberals tried to deflect and say, oh, the Maui fires, they were caused by global warming. It was the sun monster. Okay, look away. No one believes that. No serious person believes that. So the question is, was it the incompetence of the government that should have mitigated the threat of wildfires, that acknowledged the threat 4 years ago and did nothing about it because it diverted all of its resources into fighting the sun monster, the imaginary, scary, catastrophic apocalypse man in the sky? Or was it arson? We know that there's been a ton of arson set off by radical environmentalists in Maui and throughout the rest of the world in recent years. We know that there are hundreds of these incidents that occur regularly. So which is it? Either way, not good. And now we hear potentially 1,000 people, lots of them children, just burned alive, the roadblocks, complete mismanagement. Every time an illegal alien child at the border caught a cold during the Trump administration, it was national headline news, AOC pretending to cry outside the gates. But 1,000 people potentially dead in Maui, many of them, if not most of them, children, and nothing, a media blackout from the mayor, should be a major national scandal. Nothing, which doesn't tell you very much about the Maui administration, doesn't tell you very much about global warming. It tells you a lot about the media. That's what it tells you. And it tells you a lot about how the liberal establishment in this country works and how the political order works, especially as we approach elections. Got other focuses here. We got to worry about COVID, folks. Right now, head on over to PragerU.com. A majority of Zoomers support left-wing policies like open borders and socialism. If we don't reach them and change their minds, the country we know and love will be lost forever. PragerU is the leading nonprofit when it comes to influencing young people. PragerU's educational, entertaining, pro-America videos meet young people where they are online and open their minds to the truth. But they need your help. Go to PragerU.com, make a tax-deductible donation. Whatever you give right now will be tripled and have 3 times the impact. Donate $10, triples to $30. Give $100, it explodes to $300. PragerU is 100% free to everyone with no fees or subscriptions. They don't rely on ads or clickbait headlines. Contrary to what the left says, PragerU is not funded by a handful of billionaires. It's funded by people just like you. In order to keep making great content, reaching millions, and changing minds, PragerU needs your help. Head on over to PragerU.com to donate today. Even with the prosecutions, even with all the threats and the corruption, even with COVID lingering on the horizon, Trump is absolutely crushing in the polls. And I'm giving these updates in particular because we're now one day out from the presidential debate, but because the polls are not all over the place. They're not up and down and up and down. So you say, I don't know if I can really trust the polls. Or All the polls say the same thing, which is that Trump is absolutely dominating, not just at the national level, but including in the early primary states, that any potential challenger to Trump would have to win to even have a shot at the nomination. In Des Moines, in Iowa, the Des Moines Register says that Trump is up 23 points right now, 42 to 19 for DeSantis. And then Tim Scott is a full 10 points behind DeSantis, followed by Haley, Pence, Christie, Vivek, Burgum, Hurd. Who is Hurd? I remember Burgum. I actually don't even remember who Hurd is. Okay, so it doesn't matter. What about in New Hampshire? Right now in New Hampshire, Echelon has a poll out, shows Trump at 34%, so not as dominant a lead as he has in Iowa, but still he's up 20 points over the number 2 guy. That's Chris Christie. Does anybody seriously believe that Chris? Look, I'm the biggest proponent of the croissants that there is. Very pro croissants. But does anyone think that Chris Christie is going to win the Republican nomination for president? Not very many people. He could maybe pose a challenge. He could mess things up for Ron DeSantis or Vivek Ramaswamy, but he's probably not going to win it. He's at 14. Vivek is at number 3 with 11%. DeSantis is now 4th in New Hampshire, Iowa, New Hampshire, South Carolina. Trump has, I think, 150% at this point. But Iowa and New Hampshire, DeSantis has got to come in number 1 in at least one of those states, or a very close number 2 to have a shot. And he's now number 4 in New Hampshire. Not good news. You might say, well, it doesn't matter, Michael, it's silly season. We haven't had the first debate yet. People aren't paying a lot of attention to the race in the summer. People don't really know where they shake out. So who knows? Maybe DeSantis will be able to come back. Maybe he will. If all of the other candidates drop out, I guess maybe he would have a chance. But this is not like an ordinary presidential election, which is something I've been trying to impress upon people. We have not seen an election like this since 1888, the last time we had a president running for a non-consecutive second term. The point of it's silly season, no one's paying attention, let's wait until the debate's kind of rhetoric, is the notion that the American public does not know the candidates yet. So we're going to get to know the candidates at the debates. Everybody knows Trump. Everybody already knows him. That's one of the consequences of him running effectively as an incumbent, to say nothing of the fact that he's been a celebrity for 40 years. He's not even showing up to the debate. Maybe that really hurts his poll numbers. I doubt that it will. So the people already know the candidates. Where's that 34% going to move? Where's the 42% in Iowa going to move? You might say, well, that's less than 50%. Okay, let's see if every other candidate drops out and somehow the anti-Trump forces coalesce around one candidate. I'm skeptical that would happen. We were all waiting for that to happen in 2016. Remember, all the genius commentators said, that's what's going to happen. There's going to be an anti-Trump candidate. It'll be Ted Cruz or Marco Rubio or John Kasich, they said at the end. And then that's the person who's going to get it. And it never happened. Trump just walked away with the nomination, having had a plurality in pretty much all the states. So, is it going to be DeSantis? I don't know. Look, I love the guy. I don't want it to sound like I'm down on the guy. I really like him personally. He's super smart. He's a very good governor. I'd be perfectly happy if he were the nominee for pretty much anything in politics. I'm just looking at the numbers here, folks. Don't shoot the messenger. Looking at the facts. It's not looking good for him. Boy, what a great clip that was, huh? Now make sure you get all the clips and the episodes and the long interviews and the games by subscribing to the Michael Knowles YouTube channel. We'll see you next time.